Hello and welcome to the So Far So Rare podcast. This week I spoke with Ryan Haber at ItsHaber. He's a big FIFA YouTuber with a huge channel, and he came over to the SoRare space recently and is enjoying the game. We talked about that whole thing. We talked about the Russian cards, the rewards being removed. We discussed the Premier League license. There was a bit of drama about it this week. We also covered the Gameweek 252 and how it was late being closed, the rewards, and we answered loads of your questions. I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do, please like and please subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you every single week for more podcasts like this. Haber, aka Ryan, aka ItsHaber. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I love podcasts. I love doing them. That's one of my favorite things about this.
It's less like you don't need to be as snappy as YouTube. Do you know, the retention doesn't matter because all these people are diehards. They love it. They live for it. I don't know what they're at. They're probably on a commute, walking their dog, in the gym. Who knows what they're at? Where do you listen to your podcasts?
I go out on walks. I go out on walks and listen to podcasts. Yeah, just whack the earphones on and you forget you're walking half the time. It's easy.
Yeah, I'm a dog walk podcaster guy and sometimes a commute guy. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is a podcast about SoRare. You come from the kind of FIFA world of making content. You were saying beforehand, Nepenthez sort of badgered you to get involved. That's just a bit of context for people listening. You've obviously Nepenthez been on, Channy's been on the podcast already. Do you want to let people know just a little bit about yourself? Get them up to speed with where you're at in terms of SoRare.
I started SoRare back in like September. But I started my account in September because Nep just wouldn't shut up about it, saying how cool he thinks he is, how cool he thinks SoRare, or how cool he thinks he is as well.
How cool he thinks he is.
Yeah. He thinks he's pretty cool, to be fair. So he was just saying about this platform he's found SoRare and how cool it was. And actually, I think I'm fine to say this. I didn't sign an NDA. I actually got approached by SoRare a while ago to do a brand deal, and it never actually happened. That's how I first learned about it. And then Nep was going on about it a lot and saying how cool the platform is. So I made an account, and not to brag or anything, but first week I came 30th in the Common League. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Quite an experienced manager. Well, I don't think you've had someone like me on the podcast yet,
Yeah, geez, if I'd have known that, I'd have fucking snapped you up. Jeez, I missed that one. We should do a YouTube video around that. The SEO will be through the roof. I came 30th in the Common League, do you know?
Don't mean to brag or anything, it's quite talented. It's so rare, clearly. Don't look at my gallery, please. It's not good.
We will. Later on. We'll look at your gallery and judge some trades.
Let's not. So I got into it in September, but then I never really got into it. I wish I did, because I look now at cards and their price now compared to September, and if I just actually paid more attention and really got into it back then, I'd have made a killing by now. So I properly started playing about 3 months ago. 3 months ago is where I probably started playing SoRare and really getting involved, because I think when you do FIFA and then you come over to SoRare, it's quite overwhelming because it's not coins now, it's actual real money. So it can be a little bit scary. But no, I've really enjoyed it so far. I think it's pretty cool. It's a really cool platform and it's different. It's not like Fantasy Premier League where you log in once a week and do it. And I'm on SoRare every night. I'm literally just randomly going through SoRare data and scouting out some random kid from the second Argentinian league that's going to get transferred to River Plate. You know what I mean? Like I'm on it now. I watch so much football as well. I know ball.
That's the thing. Yeah. I think like something that Channy said, which might resonate with you, was, I mean, there's the bringing the FIFA skill set in terms of the knowledge of the players and the guys with high potential and whatever else, the ones to watch and that sort of stuff into SoRare, and then looking for those players. But equally, now maybe in your FIFA content, you will have a more in-depth knowledge of European football and worldwide football as a whole. And the beauty of that, I think, is because it isn't like a chore. You know, if I think about myself, right, before SoRare, if I wanted to learn about European football, having to go and sit down and watch some dodgy Japanese game or some dodgy Belgian game, I'd be like, oh God. But whenever you have exposure to it in some way, you're so engaged, and it means you learn better and you pick up players better and you're following injury news and you follow the right accounts. Have you noticed, like, in terms of your FIFA content, have you got a bit more in-depth knowledge, or like there might be a player who's an inform or something on Ultimate Team and you're like, oh, I know that guy. That guy plays for River Plate and da 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 da. Or is that happened yet?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like the coolest guy now. I'll be scrolling through Ultimate Team. I'll open a pack and I'll get some guy like he scored at the weekend. It was a great goal. I'll tell you who got the assist as well. You know, he got an 84-point score with his decisive. I'm a nerd now. I'm such a football nerd and I love it. I know
Yeah.
so much about football now because I'm so clued on to every league. Apparently, I didn't know it was possible. How do I
Yeah,
know
and
about the K League? How does that work?
how does that happen? How do I know what a Cecilia is? Do you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You say that So Rare men approach you for a brand deal. That's something that Nepenthe said quite openly. Maybe Channy too. I can't remember. And I'm not going to just keep lumping you in the same bucket, but they're your mates. Like
Yeah.
the thing, I mean, that obviously hasn't happened. You said that didn't come to fruition. But in terms of the future and maybe So Rare content, is it somewhere you see yourself operating, somewhere you see yourself looking, or are you happy just playing away on the sidelines at the minute?
I would love to make SoRare content in the future. As I said to you just before the podcast, the only reason why I don't now is because I don't know anything about SoRare. I still
Mm,
don't, and I'm learning, and I'm making so many mistakes at the minute, and I'm losing so much money at the minute, and I don't want to accidentally put somebody onto the same path and make them lose
mm,
money they can't afford to lose to. I can afford to lose a bit of money here and there. It's not a huge issue because I'm so eager to sort of play So Rare and learn So Rare. I don't mind making a couple of mistakes here and there, but I don't want other people to make that mistake because of me, which is why I'm not making
mm.
content yet. But in the future, definitely, I would love to make some So Rare content in the future. I'm just waiting until I am comfortable and confident that I'm not going
Yeah.
to accidentally make someone's life a misery.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I was literally about to come on like pick a bone with you. Pick a bone with you. Is that a saying? Pick a bone with you? Have I made that up?
Bone to pick with you.
A bone to pick with you? You
I've
don't
got a
pick a
bone to
bone with
pick.
someone. I've
I,
got a bone to pick with you, boy. It's like it sounds a little bit sinister. It sounds a little bit X-rated, doesn't it? Well, I'm gonna
sounds
pick
like
his
something from
bone.
Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick your bone. Anyway, Carl Toko Akambi, I was about to give you some shit because you bought him off me. And I
Hmm.
see you've him listed to the market, but
Yeah.
thankfully you've him listed for less than you bought him off me for, so I don't care. I thought you were trying to use me as like flip bait. I thought,
Oh no, I literally only bought him for this game week. So
that's
I
it. So
didn't
you're
have
happy
a
to take a
forward. Yeah, I didn't have him. I didn't have a forward for this game week. I think in fiat price, I might have him listed for a bit more than I paid for him. But in
probably.
ETH price, I think it's lower because ETH went up a bit today.
Ah,
But yeah, I only picked him up for this game week. Little did I know Payet is out for this game week anyway, so it didn't make a difference. I didn't
ah,
even have a team. Um,
I've done it myself. I've done
unfortunately,
it
yeah.
myself. Yeah.
So Robertson got benched as well. So sick, nice.
Yeah, yeah, Robertson. He's a cracker. You've got some beautiful players there. I see you've a Lewandowski, don't you? You have Modric, Verratti, Payet. You have some beautiful players. Even like Johnny Russell will be class over in the MLS. Is he doing well so far this season? He hasn't started too great.
No.
Rusnak as well.
Yeah, that Rusnak is an interesting one. He's not doing amazingly, and I think it's due to the fact that he's just transferred to Seattle, and I think he's playing a little bit of a different role at Seattle than he was before.
Mm,
But I'm confident that he'll pick up form. I actually watched Seattle the other day, and he looked all right. To be fair, he didn't look like he was out of place or anything like that. I just think that they're getting a lot of decisives through a lad called Montero at the minute, and there's a winger as well. Oh no, what's his name? Roldan, I think, as well.
maybe. I don't really know
Um,
the MLS as well as I should.
I'm trying to learn it. I just want a team for like the summer months. You know, when
Mm,
the Champions Europe and Challenge Europe and that are all done. I still want to be able to play. So that's why I picked up some players now. Although
yeah.
Russell, I might move on Russell anyway and pick up Rui Diaz because Rui Diaz is on his way back to Sounders from an injury. So that might be
Did you
something
care
I
about the
do.
MLS before So Rare, or is all this alpha you're dropping from your time on So Rare?
Yeah, no, I didn't know shit about the MLS. I mean, I still don't know anything about the MLS now, but I don't know
No more
anything
than me.
beforehand. No, I didn't. I knew as much as whatever came out in FIFA was what I knew about the
Mm.
MLS, and that's about it. So
No, that's brilliant. It's one of those. I don't know what it is about the MLS. Like, I like the idea of waking up to the Asian games results.
mhm.
I don't have any rare players really, but in terms of the MLS, I don't really have anyone. I think I had like a little MLS contingent last year, but it had like George Bello, Ricardo Pepe, Cole Bassett, and Daryl Dyke. All four of them came to Europe.
Yeah, none of those names mean anything to me. I don't know any of those guys.
So they're all under 23 players who
Okay. Yeah.
had high potential in the MLS, and I was kind of running MLS player a team with them, and then maybe I'd throw some of them under 23s because they're all young. But I've got such a good scouting eye, Haber, that Europe came calling for every single player I picked in the MLS. Isn't that amazing?
You should just sign for a football team. That'd be it.
I mean, I don't know why I'm bothering with this fucking shit whenever I could do that,
Exactly.
but yeah. Anyway, people would disagree when they look at my Wesley trade, but I'm actually really excited for Wesley. I picked up Tyson. They're both at a Brazilian team called, I think it's like International or something. I'm looking forward to running those two guys over the summer, but I do need to build a summer team in Rare, so that's where I need to go, and maybe the MLS is where I should be looking. But I digress. There was something I was going to say to you there. I have limited written down and a little circle around it. I forget. I forget. In terms of, is there anything else to add, I suppose, in terms of your journey or where you're at, just to give people a bit of perspective? Like, you've kind of come in, you've spent a bit of cash, you're playing every week now. I mean, how you find it? If I was to say to you as a relatively new user, is there anything that's like a red flag to you or alarming you, or is there anything that you're absolutely loving that stands out either side of the spectrum?
I just enjoy.
Kulusevski just scored. Sorry,
Oh, no.
I have a
you have him in your
Kulusevski
lineup,
super
don't you?
rare.
Yeah.
Yes, baby. Yeah.
No, I in general, to be fair, I'm not really. I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about this issue, that issue, you know, in the discords and stuff like that. I don't really pay much attention to it, to be honest. I kind of just like, I learn better when I do my own thing on something, and usually it's the not the right thing to do, and it's proving it's not the right thing to do in certain aspects. But it sticks with me better if I do something my own way, as opposed to take advice and sort. The worst thing I want to do, the one thing I didn't want to do is ask everybody for advice. I'll ask a few things here and there, but ask everybody for all different pieces of advice, and then take advice from someone and it go wrong. And then in my head, I'm not angry with myself and then angry with that person because they told me to do it. And it's like, I would never want to put blame on someone. So I always try and learn myself with that sort of stuff. But I don't know. There's I see all these issues with, I don't know if that You Never Walk Alone or Blackpool or all that rubbish. I don't know what any of it even means, to be honest. I don't even know what's going on. I haven't chose to really look at it. But so far I'm loving the platform. I think it's super interactive, and you know, I'm really enjoying watching really random football games. Like, if BT Sports got the French league, I'm watching it, you know, like get Marseille game on 8 p.m. You know what I mean?
It's mad. Like, I have a little horn for Feyenoord these days because I've got Cocu and I've now got a Geertruida, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, yes. You know, like if I see the games on, I'm like, that's me now. Not in a million years did I ever think I'd care about Feyenoord versus, like, I don't know, some shitter like Vitesse or something. You know, I never thought I'd care about that, but now it's like Sunday sorted. You know, that's me now. But no, I think it's an interesting point you bring. I think, like, obviously, people listening to this podcast, if you listen every week, you better have left a review, and I hope you've subscribed. But I mean, because of the nature of this podcast, and I find when I listen to SoRare, I'm about to go on a spiel here, so sorry. When I listen to SoRare content, people like this stuff, and I know I put out content like this myself, but I don't really enjoy following content that's really like player, like person, manager, gallery specific, because it's like, I don't care about your gallery, I care about my gallery. So I like to listen personally to kind of bigger picture conversation around what SoRare is and what's happening. And that's what this podcast tends to be then, because I like to talk about the issues that it's facing, the things they're doing well, the things they aren't doing well, sentiment within the community, potential things that could happen in the future, X, Y, and Z. So that's what this is. But because I kind of live in it, because I host this podcast, it's like, it can be easy, and maybe for people who listen, it can be very easy to forget that, like, for people like yourself, and I'd say for 90% of the platform, we all live in our little echo chambers on social media and whatever else. There's a lot of people who just back SoRare for a bunch of different reasons. They know there's risk involved, but they're more than happy just plodding along, having fun playing SoRare as it is in its current iteration, not worrying too much about the future in terms of, like, oh no, they didn't score this, or oh no, multi-accounting legislation and rules and T's and C's. Like, instead of, like, quite often I'll say in this podcast, like, to be honest with you, I know I should care, but I don't give a fuck, because it's like, there's a lot to be said for just enjoying the game if you trust the idea and the concept long term. Why worry yourself about the weekly or monthly ongoings? If you back the product over the next couple of years, just tune out, have some fun, and like maybe we don't all need to care so much about the nitty gritty of the intricacies of day to day management of SoRare. But I do think it's important, obviously, to know, because if that's where you've got your money, you need to be kind of following it and know when to maybe de-risk if you don't like the way things are going. But like, yeah, that was a big, long-winded spiel, which probably was quite incoherent. But it's just about the fact that like a lot of people listening to this podcast, we probably love a bit the drama a bit too much and following the general Discord. Who gives a fuck? Do you know?
I love that general Discord though. I do love it. It's just like
it's funny.
So many. I'm trying not to offend people, but it just appears to be a lot of middle-aged men angry at each other for no reason a lot of the time.
Everyone wants the same thing.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If it was FIFA, I'd probably be really clued in. I'd know what's going on. Oh, EA did this, and I'd be really angry at this. But because it's a platform I'm quite new to, I'm actually quite blissfully ignorant, and I'm just choosing not to really pay attention. But I do love scrolling through that general chat and just seeing people going at each other. I love it. Like, I know it's toxic and it's awful, it's negative, but like I do love a good dogfight here and there.
It's like a car crash, it's like Love Island. It's like Love Island. You feel stupider from watching it. You know you shouldn't be watching it. Your IQ is going down, but it's like, oh man, I just want to see him call that guy a cunt. Go on, do it. I dare you. You know. Like I've just opened it for the crack, and like the last few messages are okay actually, but like it's so funny when you see someone just come in out of nowhere and then the disagreements. I don't know how people have the time for it.
No, I don't either. I have no idea.
Says me, who sits here on Twitter 24/7 and making content. Anyway, yeah. So in terms of like recent drama, to kind of just summarize it, because that's what we do here. Gameweek 252 has been very late closing. There was no rewards video this week on my YouTube because the rewards haven't came yet. And in other news, SoRare haven't credited Kulusevski with the assist, but Flash Score have. He didn't get the goal in the end. It sounds like one of those where maybe he hit a shot and it flicked off Romero. So I'm keen to see a replay, but I'm just hoping he gets something for that because I'd hate to not get the points. But yes, Gameweek 252 hasn't closed. Rewards are late. I mean, honestly, for me, it's a case of, all right, we all want the rewards, but like these things happen. In my perspective, I'm kind of looking at it like Opta are the industry leaders. Do you know? Opta are. They rely on Opta as the industry leader and company that provides stats. They pay them, no doubt, a lot of money for a package. One in thousands of games goes wrong. And I mean, it does happen sometimes where like maybe they've had issues. I don't actually know what it was here. Could they not get a feed or they couldn't review the game somehow? But like
called technical issues, I think they just said.
Shit happens, you know? That's not, in my opinion, SoRare's fault. It's Opta's fault. Now, where the issue comes is, should SoRare's T's and C's or the game rules have a disclaimer or something that if a game hasn't been scored by the end of the deadline, it will not count. Or if it hasn't been scored within 6 hours after the deadline of the start of the next game week, it shouldn't count or something. Because I think it's a rules problem more than their relationship with Opta. Because I mean, what are you going to do? Go and get the second best guy, the second best stats provider as a backup whenever you never really need them? It doesn't make sense. And what's to say they'll do it any better? In my opinion, I don't know if you've any thoughts about it.
I don't know about. See, the thing I find harsh is I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the people that have. Was it Vitesse Kobe player team and the Degao FC or something? I don't know how to pronounce those. I think
and Vissel Kobe, probably, yeah.
Like if I had a Vissel Kobe stack, right, and you know they won like 3-0 or something, and I had a great chance of rewards, I'd be fuming if they didn't count it because of an Opta issue, right? At the same time, I mean, I don't have any rewards this week, so I'm not waiting for anything. But if I was waiting for like a star rare or something, and I could have sold it to improve my team for this upcoming weekend game week, I'd also be fuming. So I see why both sides are quite angry. But like you say, this stuff happens, and I've been on the platform for 3 months, and this is the first time I've seen it happen, where it's like, you know, a day or two later, and we still don't have the results. And I appreciate that they're trying to do the right thing by the people that have got thousands of pounds invested in players who have played and it's not been scored yet. I do appreciate they're trying to fix it, I guess, but It's a tough scenario, and I don't really have a side that I'm on. I just see both sides POV, and I think both are rightfully angry. But at the same time, a bit of patience is, we don't need to lose our shit over this.
I think it's better to be right than to just close it off. And I think it's better to, like, the thing is, I think it's semi-important. It's pretty important that people get their rewards before next game week closes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they've said that we're recording this on Wednesday. They've said that the game week will close on Thursday. I think they said that in Discord earlier. So, like, that's good enough for me. Like, oh, what? I didn't get my reward yesterday and I couldn't flip it quicker and then make that money move and get a deal done over the line. I mean, I get it, but I mean, like, it's not the end of the world. The reward's delayed a wee bit. For me, I don't think there's any issue with, like, Opta, and you see all these calls for it. It's not good enough for a multi-billion-dollar company not to have a backup or a contingency plan, or, why haven't they got their own guys who review games, and score games? And, you get to the stage where, if you go to a different provider than Opta, maybe they won't provide the stats that are required or to the same level, the same tier of coverage. Just all this type of shit, basically, that, again, it goes back to, like, do we really need to worry ourselves about it?
Yeah,
Just
I
play
don't
the
think
fucking game, man. Do you know?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you're gonna get your rewards. I mean, it is annoying. Like, maybe you'll be opted out of a tier 0 or a tier 1 or even a reward at all, or maybe out of your threshold. But I mean, like, if they get it right, that's all that matters. In terms of getting it fucking right, I'm raging. I'm cursing a lot today, so sorry if anyone's listening with their kids in the car. You probably shouldn't do that. I had a lineup in under 23 Rare Pro midweek last week, and Seol Young-woo, who plays for, is it Ulsan, won a penalty in like the 82nd minute or something, and it was converted. So he got a decisive action, and his score jumped massively, and it knocked me off the podium. It knocked me from 3rd to like 6th.
Right.
And if he hadn't have got credited with that winning a penalty, or if they hadn't won that penalty, I would have podiumed and I would have got a Julian Alvarez. I ended up with like a buy-ender, whatever. I mean, still grand. I'm happy, but like, the bloody Korean League Refereeing Association or whoever have come out since and said, yeah, that was a mistake. That should never have been a penalty. Even after VAR, they butchered it on the day. They've actually come out after and said, yeah, we got that one wrong. Sorry, guys. And I'm like, oh, it hurts even more now that you've admitted it. Do you know?
That's bad.
Shit.
Yeah. I would be livid as well, to be fair.
Have you had any really sickening beats that have stuck with you yet?
Trying to think, have I? I do remember. Oh God, this isn't right. Like it wasn't one that I was upset about really, because it was I missed out on threshold. But I do remember I was chatting to my friend Josh, and I was like, "Oh mate, my rare team's already over threshold, and I've still got 2 players to play." And as I say that, Hilgers concedes an own goal, I think, and then I can't remember if he got sent off or if he got injured and came off, but he got 0 points, and then 2 players didn't play, and I didn't even get my threshold. I was like, I looked so silly because I was like saying, "Yo, look, this is too easy," and then boom. Apart from that, have I missed out on anything? Lewandowski annoys the hell out of me. That guy can go F himself.
You bought him and he did nothing for weeks, was it?
Yeah,
and then he scored a hat trick and you didn't play him or something. What happened there?
Didn't captain him. I captained Verratti instead, and Verratti, obviously, PSG get knocked out of the Champions League the one time. And I said, guys, I'm captaining Verratti, so make sure you captain Lewandowski. And he goes and gets a hat trick in 30 minutes. God, that guy, honestly, he does it on purpose.
I'm gonna have to break your heart. Andy Robertson doesn't start.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I saw he wasn't starting.
I'm winding you up. I think he is starting. I was just trying to break your heart.
What? Oh no, I think he isn't starting. On SoRare data, he's not. I haven't got the 30. Oh no, he is starting. Oh, maybe
I was just trying to break your heart live and play a little bit of a practical joke. You know, the whole impractical jokers sort of shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind actually anyway, because Payet's suspended for this flipping game week anyway, so it literally makes no difference to me, unfortunately.
Oh well, then it doesn't matter to you. Yeah. Okay. It looks like they haven't credited Kulusevski with anything, and I did a quick search on Twitter, and there's a bit of uproar about it. But look, it is what it is. Let's hope Trent can destroy Arsenal, or Odegaard can do something for my other lineup. But so Opta, whatever. Yeah, neither of us particularly passionate. I think that for me, my if I was to sign it off in one line, for me, my opinion, my stance, my take is, it's a rules thing. I mean, I don't think there's any issue with the relationship between them and Opta and where they get their data from, where they get their scores from. I think the issue, not necessarily an issue, but I think it just needs to be ironed out. Like, what is the process if this happens again? Is it a case of rewards will be postponed to a Thursday and that's what happens? And if X does happen, Y happens, and then this happens? I just think it needs to be clear going forward. And I think there's a lot of issues coming out these days around the historic T's and C's and rules because they're not fit for purpose with the scale of the company and how it's grown. Things have changed. So, I mean, it's just a bit of catch up there. So, anything else on that, or will we move on to the next topic?
Oh, we can move on. Yeah, I'm not passionate about it. Yeah.
So this is just another one. This is from announcements. Brian hopped in. Dan was off in the Emerald Isle, Ireland, for his holidays. And Brian replaced him for a little announcement on the Discord. Russian Premier League cards. SoRare will not be minting. This was actually like a while ago, but I recorded last week's podcast very early and we haven't talked about this. SoRare won't be minting or auctioning Russian Premier League cards starting on March the 4th, which is nearly 2 weeks ago at time of release here. And we'll be removing the Russian Premier League from scouting season March until further notice. They've also decided not to issue Russian cards as rewards. During this time, managers will be able to use their existing Russian cards and trade on the secondary market. Yeah, any thoughts?
I respect that they're standing in solidarity with Ukraine. Apart from that, I don't really know. It's whatever to me, really. It doesn't really bother me.
I think it's one of those where, yeah, I think a lot of people across the world are coming out with sanctions and platforms are coming out with things. And I don't know if FIFA done anything to do with Russian players.
I think they did the same thing. I think they removed like Russian players from packs and stuff. So yeah,
but they're not taking them out of your club. Like if you have the player,
no, you still have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the fair move. I mean, people would have been calling for like Russian games shouldn't be scored and all this, but that just penalizes people whose fault it isn't. And people have bought these NFTs are theirs. So I respect the fact that people can still score with those players. It also protects the values of them somewhat, which is good for everyone involved. But yeah, I mean, I respect their decision not to auction them. I mean, that means SoRare and profiting from them. I think the not issuing rewards, that's a funny one. So like in terms of, yeah, good. For me, when I look at this, there's like three things. It's good that people are still able to use their cards and trade them in the market. It's good that they aren't minting them or auctioning them. But the one thing that's up for any sort of debate for me is they're not issuing them as rewards. Now, I don't even know where the moral compass is on this. I don't even know what I should feel about this. But the two sides to me are, okay, yeah, that's fair, that's noble, that's solidarity with Ukraine. Okay, that whole side. The other side is we're taking rewards out of the reward pool whenever the rewards are already being criticized enough. And I mean, it is, again, this is the context for people listening to this podcast. This is a SoRare podcast. We have to talk about it from a SoRare perspective. Like, this isn't about me saying like, oh, whatever about Ukraine, what about our SoRare rewards? It's not like that. It's about coming at it from the SoRare perspective because this is a SoRare podcast. That's the perspective we have to look at it from. Do you think removing rewards is a good call, bad call, indifferent, whatever? I don't think anyone's going to kick up a fuss because at the end of the day, it is back to that, like, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't fucking matter. But like, it is maybe a conversation. It's the only part of it that I could see someone being like, but rewards are already shit. We bought these cards with the thought that we could win those cards, and now those are out of the reward pool. Oh, do you know? Do you care?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. Is there any like big Russian league players that go for a lot that people are on the lookout for with rewards, or
be some youngsters who'd be monsters? Like Zakarian would be a killer. I mean, there are definitely players there who fit the matrix massively and dominate. Yeah, Zenit players and stuff. There are big value players there, big scorers, 100%.
Yeah, like that. That sucks for people, I guess, if they end up getting some stinker when they could have got like, one of the players you mentioned, I guess. But for me, I don't know much about like I've only known the prize pool and the prizing system since I've got here, right? I don't know if it was different before, or maybe because there was less players on it made it different. I have seen people talk about the prize pool already being a bit short for the player base and things like that. again, I didn't know it before, so I only know what I know
Mm.
now. It would be nicer if you could definitely win more awards. I don't know. Does taking these players out, does that make it easier to get other players? Like, for example, if there was a Zenit player as a star rare, and you take him out, does that make a different star rare easier to get that is maybe a better or worse player?
I don't know how they've done it in terms of like if they take a reward out of the star pool, do they replace it, or does that just increase the
Yeah.
odds of you getting? I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. Look, I don't think anyone's going to throw the toys out of the pram, or anyone really cares. It's just a case of like, I think that's the only part of this that could be up for any sort of contention or debate. I think the other parts are like, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, fair play. Taking the rewards out. Yeah, okay. I don't think anyone's gonna worry about it, but will that reduce the reward numbers, or are they buffing it out elsewhere? Maybe they're buffing it out. I mean, if I was SoRare, what I think the right move for SoRare to do there, and I actually don't know. I definitely could have. There's people who know the answer to this. Didn't really plan on talking about this before we sat down, but if they've bolstered the rewards, like, okay, well, we've taken out Russia, let's throw in an extra 10% from all the other eligible leagues, or an extra few here and there, to buff up the numbers. I mean, if that's happened, fair play. I actually haven't really noticed. I think the rewards have gone up the last couple of weeks, so maybe they're doing that. But
I
we've
don't
had the
see the
MLS
need to
back in
take
Asia.
the Russian rewards out, to be fair. I mean, I get, we don't want to profit off of Russian players right now with the conflict, but I don't understand why, like, there's no malice in giving them out as
Mm,
rewards, is there? So that doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't know if they're just doing that for the trifecta. Oh, we won't mint them, we won't sell them, and we won't give them out as rewards at all. If they just want
yeah,
it completely stopped, it doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I'd hope they've got people hired that whose job it is to think about these sort of
yeah,
decisions, right, from all different angles.
I think like I had a good point there. The rewards, yeah. So I think in terms of the auctions and in terms of selling cards, there might be deals with specific Russian clubs or the league where, based on the sales, there's like a revenue share. So
Yeah,
by selling them, you have to pay them a percentage, and then you're funding Russian business and whatever else, sanctions, all the rest. I get that. Rewards, though, surely rewards are just rewards and they're given away. I doubt SoRare have to pay Russia for every reward they give out. It's probably a case of any revenue we generate, there's a share there. But anyway, look, we're getting into the nitty gritty. Bottom line is, I think overall, as an announcement and a decision and a stance, I mean, you can't criticize him for it. It's just something to talk about, isn't it? That's SoRare
yeah.
related. So yeah, I don't think there was anything else mad that happened, or has happened. I mean, there's a lot of bitching and moaning about different wee things, of course. The thing I'm very excited for is we were told that we would have an update on all those big things that I can't wait to hear about at the end of March. There's 2 weeks left. So in the next 2 weeks, there has to be a significant announcement. You know, is there anything you're hoping to hear? Is there anything you're looking forward to? Do you want to know what a progress bar is? Do you want to know what the scoring matrix will look like next year? Do you want to know if limited pro is going to be a thing? Is there anything you want to hear about or care for? Or are you just having fun playing Rare?
All three of those things is the first time I've ever heard about any of them, to be fair. So um, that would be cool. I didn't even know there was a big March announcement, to be fair. I had no
When I say a
idea.
big announcement, it's not like, don't get excited. It's not like a big announcement like, oh, we've a big announcement coming. Everyone get ready. We're going to the moon. It's more a case of like, we've neglected our communications and comms for so long
Right.
and not
Yeah.
updated you on things that you need to know about. We will have an answer by the end of March, is what they
Right. That
said.
that makes sense. For me, do you know the one thing I would like to know about? And I wasn't around when this first got introduced, but why are there legends on there? Why is Maradona
There's one of the big
viable?
things.
What even is I don't get. I don't understand why they're there. Do they have utility? What is going on?
Don't start me. I've went off on a rant. Honestly, the last 2 weeks in this podcast, I've bitched and moaned about that for probably 10 minutes. I'll summarize it quickly to answer your question. They came out, they released the legends, the footage, the promo videos were unreal. The players they landed exclusive NFT contracts with were huge, Ronaldo and co. Um, they come out with an idea for utility, which was basically a player will score the same. Have you heard this bit? No. So basically, a player would score, like if you have a Cruyff Ajax forward card, he would score on a game week the same as the highest Ajax forward scores. But that would overpower SO5, and every winning team would just be stacked with legends. So they were never going to be able to play in the actual game that we play. They had decided there would be special weekly type things, and not even the special weekly, their own legend special weekly. So basically, these cards would have their own game, their own utility, almost like a side game for legends. And they would score in that respect, and you would win rewards through that game, or win whatever you win through that game. They didn't announce it, but they said that's how it was going to work. These things will be coming soon. Da 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 da. That was back in September, October, and lo and behold, nothing has been delivered. Which is probably, and the reason I keep bringing it up, and I do want to move on because I'm not lying here, but like I've bitched about this for 10 minutes on the previous 2 podcasts. People will be sick of me talking about it. It's one of the first times I think since I've been on SoRare that they have like categorically, indisputably overpromised and not even under-delivered, not delivered. It's like, it's not good enough. It's the first thing that they've done. I mean, they've done a few things, but I mean, this is the first thing they've done that I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, that's really bad. Like, you have let a lot of people down. So I'm really hoping they give us an update on the legends. It can't be hard to throw something together for them. And I think it's like, maybe people aren't bitching enough about it. I'll do it for us. Don't worry. I think it's a disgrace. So look, that's where we're at with legends. We'll move on because otherwise this will be another legend cast.
I've opened a can of worms there, haven't I?
Maybe no one else cares, and it's not even that I have loads of them. I have a few of them in limited. I'm giving away all my limited rewards this year, so I'm not worried. Like personally, financially, it's a case of you've fucked up here, lads, and it's annoying me. But yeah, so that's that. Hopefully we have an update in the next week or two. Hopefully in the podcast in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to dissect an AMA or talk through something with you. And again, check out my YouTube, John Nellis. I've renamed it John Nellis SoRare, not just John Nellis. Crazy, I know. What does that mean? It leaves the door open for a channel where it's just me joshing around, being a crazy guy, doing crazy things. Haber, who knows?
Would you call that channel Josh Nellis? Could you be just joshing around?
Because I'm just joshing around.
Exactly.
Who knows? Anyway, there actually aren't. I don't think there's a Josh Nellis. I have like 40 cousins, and there's not one Josh Nellis. Do you know what? Here's a side story that's really shit. I shouldn't tell. This is just crap. This is shit content, man. But here we are. Basically, I hate my name being John Nellis because it's like, oh, John Ellis or John Nellis.
Right.
So that was something that was overlooked when my mom and dad named me. So if I have any kids, they won't have names that end in N. So Josh fits the bill. Anyway, this is poor content here, but let's move into some questions from the community. It did say anything goes here. I did say that. So I put out saying you'd be on, and we got a load of questions. It's great. There seems to be. Tell me this: have you found anything of this, or is this just me? I'm going to stir the pot here and have some fun. Have you found any like stigma towards FIFA YouTubers coming into the space, or people coming in and just like, do you get any shit for just coming in and being in the SoRare, either from your FIFA guys being like, oh, look at this guy trying to like promote SoRare, or from SoRare guys being like, well, this dickhead, he knows nothing about SoRare coming in from FIFA, he's just here for money or something. Do you get any of that?
A little bit,
because I see it.
A little bit. I've had a few people that think that SoRare is this Ponzi scheme, and when I show people, like on stream, I'll show people my gallery, my SO5 lineups, and I don't even promote SoRare. I don't promote my referral link. I don't. I have the platform to do it, and I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting until I feel comfortable with doing that. But I've had people who think that I'm promoting a Ponzi scheme, I'm somehow benefiting from it, and I don't think that's necessarily because of my background in FIFA. I think that's just people's overall outlook to NFTs and things like that at the moment. We have a lot of people that are scamming, these crypto scams and stuff with a lot of YouTubers, I think has left a stigma with people. So they think anything that's new that involves NFTs or crypto is some kind of Ponzi scheme. That's that. And with me, Channy Nep, doing it all very similar timing wise, getting involved heavily, people just think we're bigging up a Ponzi scheme to then take money out and then drop it, which is obviously not the case. SoRare's massive. SoRare's been huge before we even got into it. So I've had a little bit of that. And then I've had a few people from SoRare. I've not had people mean to me, but I've had a few people that have been quite patronizing and condescending towards me because of obviously how different the platforms are. It feels like SoRare is way more mature and the audience is a lot older compared to FIFA. And in
Yeah.
that, I've had a few experiences with people that have been a bit older than me that have patronized me, condescended me, in that regard. But apart from that, it's been all right, to be fair. The transition's been pretty cool. I think the community's really cool. A lot of the guys that obviously I think that you talk to a lot and in your Discord are really cool as well. I've had a lot of cool conversations there. So yeah, for the most part, most people have been cool, but there are a few. That's the internet, though. There's a few weird people on the internet that just make a big deal out of anything.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's one of the weirdest ones I'm finding these days, and this again could be something that people listening either don't give a shit about or it's relevant. But I'm just gonna talk about my perspective for a minute. Like, there's like a minority. It is the loudest kind of minority in terms of, like, again, back to the whole echo chamber, social media, whatever else. But there's people in the SoRare world. It is that more mature audience, and I think that they're being really savvy, or like are unearthing some groundbreaking news whenever they're like, oh my god, SoRare affiliates make money and they're making content, but they're trying to act like they're being good and making content, but really they're just doing it to make money. And it's like, oh really? So you think that the 500 hours I've put in so far this year, or the last 6 months, to make content should just be completely for free, and that I'm doing it for the crack? I'm doing it because I love the content. I love the product. I'm passionate about it. You can see that. I love the community. I'm flying all over Europe trying to meet people, going out for a pint. I genuinely love the whole thing. I love football. But people, it's like this. There's like this minority of little small-minded, probably bitter 30 to 40-year-old men who are like, I can't believe that he's not just a purist and doing this all out of the good of his heart. Imagine sharing your affiliate link or having ads on your videos. Like, fuck off. Like,
I know, it's so silly. And those
there's
same
a
people as
really, like,
well, they will
yeah.
try and make as much as they can from each deal, and they won't ever take money out of their own pockets to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, those same people, they don't live by the standards they set for content creators. They think that we should be these all holy saints, and they get to just then practice whatever they want behind the screen. It's just,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I put out content, and this is me just going off on a little self-indulgent, talking about myself, my own perspective, because this is like, again, it's the kind of 0.5%, not even, of people who listen, but the comments, you do see some of them. I've muted half the people that write these comments anyway, because I'm just like, I don't need to deal with that shit. But like, you do see them and you do question it and you do start to think about it. But like, I really want to transition into full-time content creation. I love making content about SoRare, and I can't do that unless I have an income. I need to feed myself and my dog and my girlfriend. Why did I say my dog first? And that's really bad. I need to feed my family. I need to feed myself. I need to
no,
pay the
you can't come
mortgage.
back from
I
that
need
now.
I need
That's
just
it.
move on. I need to keep the lights on, And it's like, how's that supposed to happen unless you do promote your affiliate link, unless you do promote things? So like, look, I think 90% of people know that, and those haters listen. I know they do. So I hope you enjoyed that, you pieces of shit. So Haber, question time. We in? Will we do it?
Yep, let's do it.
I've got a flash score notification. I kind of like doing these during game nights. Oh, Lille are 1-0 up
Go on, Leo.
against Chelsea. Yeah, I
Go
wonder
on,
who won the
Leo.
penalty. Wonder who won the penalty. Let's see if it'll tell us.
I bet you
Yilmaz scored it. I don't know who won it. Jorginho conceded it. He was the one who tackled someone by the looks of it. So in terms of questions, most liked first, Jay Fraz. Jay Fraz asked, speculating on potential positive advancements on the SoRare platform, what change could the SoRare team make within the realms of reality which would enhance... Oh my God! Sorry, Jay, we're coming back to you. How did I not think of this? The Premier League debacle. Did you follow that the other day? You did. So
No, I didn't. Right.
okay, so you probably
sort of, yeah.
it's through the grapevine, yeah. But basically, in a nutshell, I didn't follow it like to a T. But an article came out from a semi-reliable source. I imagine, I don't know who they are, but I mean, people took it as if it was gospel, so I imagine they're reliable. And it said that Consensus and Dapper are the two front runners, or like the ones that have agreed to, in principle, a deal for the Premier League NFT rights. So I woke up to that on, I don't know, Monday morning, maybe Sunday morning, Monday morning. And obviously everyone's quote tweeting it and being like, oh no, SoRare have dropped the ball. This isn't good. mixed with, oh, they weren't ready for it anyway. You know, it's probably good for the platform to mellow out a bit and get used to it, and then we'll get it next year. There was this kind of mix, but I mean, it was the whole thing was that we aren't getting the Premier League, which everyone's been very excited for. And I mean, it is one of those things that if it didn't actually come, I would still really enjoy the platform, but I think it does limit the upside and the amount of people that could potentially get involved long term. Anyway, that was what was said. People all took it as gospel. People were all retweeting it, getting a bit panicky. And then Nicholas, the CEO, came out and said something like, I'm paraphrasing and I'm getting this wrong. I can't be arsed going clicking through the tweets. He basically said, no one said there's going to be no Premier League. We set out this year hoping to have the top 20 leagues on board, and I'm still confident we can do that by the end of 2022. And basically, there was something around like it's under a different license. So I might have said this last week. I might not have. I heard through the grapevine. I'm pretty sure I said this last week, and I'm just repeating myself, but that it would be that I heard through the grapevine that SoRare have two major MLS sports down, and one of them, basketball, isn't out of the question, is what I was told, which implied to me that I always thought Top Shot was in the way. But that was explained to me that Top Shot is a collectible license, SoRare could get the gaming license for the NFTs, right? Mm-hmm. So let's take that over to the Premier League. What I think's happened here is maybe the licenses for the collectibles have been agreed, but there's still ongoing conversations about the gaming license. I don't think Nicholas comes out and makes statements like that if they weren't going to get it. It actually made me more confident than less confident. And the other thing is that Consensus, which I think is the company that might own MetaMask or something to do with MetaMask anyway, they're actually an investor in SoRare. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of there's a lot of like Chinese whispers and bits and bobs coming out. No one really knows. But for me personally, I am more bullish now based on how Nicholas reacted. They could have sat there and said nothing, but they come out and said something.
Yeah.
So if I had to get, I think it's more likely we get the Premier League now than less. Maybe people disagree. Maybe people think, of course you'd say that. You want people to go and sign up and spend money and you're an affiliate and whatever. But like, that's how I feel. Did you catch any of that, or like, what do you think?
I did see a bit of it, yeah. I didn't see it like I don't know the ins and outs of how these deals, specifically NFT deals work. But from my experience in this industry, there are so many different subcategories and subsectors within licensing that I think it is very possible that NFT licenses can be granted to multiple different companies in different subcategories. So for me, I'm not worried. I would love SoRare to get the Premier League licenses because I think the website will absolutely boom if they get the Premier licenses. And I think also I've been approached by a few different companies that are doing SoRare-like games that are also trying to focus now on an English. I know there's a company, I forget their name, but they've made
Does it rhyme with Smultimate Champions? Ultimate Champions.
That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't know why I got cryptic with it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that is the one. Yeah. So they approached me and they're trying to focus on like an English-based fan sort of area, analytic, I guess, or geography words.
Demographic.
That's the word I was looking for. Demographic. They're trying to focus on English because obviously SoRare, I think, with the leagues they've got, have a lot of people in Europe on board. And I think there's a massive untapped market in England for people on SoRare. I think there's so many people that would play SoRare that don't at the moment because they don't have the Premier League rights and it's not quite England accessible because it's hard for us to watch a lot of games here. I think. So yeah. I would love for them to get the licenses. And I agree with that sentiment. I think I'm quite confident because there are so many different subcategories. And obviously I don't know exactly how it works with NFTs, nor have I put any effort into learning. But I do think with how these things go, the Premier League probably, with the amount of money I've seen being thrown around, I saw something for like 400 million or something like that. Like they're probably going to try and get that from every different company they can. I highly doubt they're trying to pick one company out of a big pool for it. They're probably trying to get, 400 million for the collectibles, 400 million for the video NFT rights, and then 400 million for the gaming NFT. They'll try and rinse that cash cow as much as possible. So I'm not worried, and I'm quite excited for hopefully when they do get the Premier League rights as well, because that will just open the game up massively, I think.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. If I was to throw it at you and say tomorrow it's announced they don't get the let's have some balance. If I was to throw at you and say they don't get the Premier League rights tomorrow,
Sell up, get out. I'm gone. I'm
get
out of
out,
there. Yeah,
gone
I'm out of there. I'm
in the
going to
mud.
Ultimate Champions.
In the mud. What do you think it would affect your SoRare experience or your view of the whole thing? Like, is that something you're hanging hopes on?
Not really, because I think as well, I think it's possible, even if they don't get the Premier League rights, that they can go to individual clubs and get the rights there. I think they've done that with some clubs already before. I think I've seen like Liverpool players and West Ham players and things like that in the game. So I wouldn't be too worried, and it's not something I'm super worried about either, because I already like the aspect of it anyway, with how it is with the leagues they've got right now, and the Premier League obviously would enhance this experience for me even more. But I wouldn't be gutted if they didn't get the Premier League rights, because I think the game has still got a lot of potential anyway, and I think there's so much for it right now that one league isn't going to change my experience massively.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think for me, I think I would be upset. Upset is like strong. I wouldn't be sitting here like I'm a wounds really like upset about it and down. It wouldn't affect my mood for the day. But like when I kind of got into SoRare and when I started making content, and I've so many eggs in this basket that it's like that would mean a lot to me and my future in terms of content and potentially being able to do more of it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like that brings the platform arguably to the next level, brings a lot of eyes in, and potentially gets my YouTube from a small YouTube to like, oh, he's got a decent YouTube that he can maybe live off. You know,
right. Yeah,
and so for me, like there is a lot wagered on it there, and I'm very hopeful. But at the same time, from an actual game perspective, like the Premier League's a hard league, man. I mean, like for SO5, there won't be as many outliers, and if there are, I guarantee you 99% of us won't be affording them.
Hmm.
Like,
Man
you
City
know,
stacks. What do you mean? I'm getting a
Man
Man City
City
stacks, mate.
stacks. Man City will be a killer. Man City will just be rotation. Do you
Yeah,
know, Pep Roulette, baby? You know, how much are you going to have to pay for a Harry Kane? A lot of money.
Edison will be 400 grand for his
Like
limited.
Ederson probably be like, yeah, the new most expensive keeper. It's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Maybe you won't because Allison, you'd like to think Allison would cost more internationally. Does Allison starts ahead of him or is it Ederson?
I
Are
think
they kind of
Edison
fighting
starts
for it?
over. I think Edison might start over Allison. I might be wrong on
Really?
that, but
Yeah. I have it in my head
I'm not
Allison, but
sure.
I think I think they shared a bit. Anyway, what I'm getting at is I think from a game perspective, it's actually not the end of the world. But I think in terms of sentiment and people's excitement, there's a lot of people who really, really hope for the Premier League and a lot of people who only care about the Premier League and want to buy players from their beloved Brighton. Do you
Yeah.
know? There's people like that. So look, we'll see. But we'll go on and answer a few questions here. I started reading out Jay phrases about speculating on the potential positive advancements in SoRare. What change could the SoRare team make within the realms of reality, which would enhance the SoRare experience for you with your current gallery? So, if you could sort of have one change implemented to increase your experience to enhance it, what would it be?
Something that I would like on the actual So Rare website would be a way to see a player's floor without clicking on the player and then going over to card on the market and filtering, rare and then lowest price and
Yeah,
whatnot. It'd be nice if when I click on the player or maybe hovered over the player, it expanded a little profile and it had like maybe the last listings of the card or the card's floor and things like that. Because when you do go to sell on a card, especially if you're trying to get a quick sell and you're trying to undercut somebody, it can either, if you don't have SoRare data open, it can be a bit of a pain in the bum going and clicking
yeah.
and clicking through and clicking. There's a lot of stuff to click there and then go back to your club. So that'd be a nice little quality of life addition for me. But apart from that, I can't think of many like additions on the website. Something I spoke to Nep about that I think would be cool if they got the exclusive licenses to each of the top 5 leagues in Europe, having an SO5 division per league. So, for example, limited Bundesliga, limited Premier League, and then the rewards are only from that league. I think that would be kind of cool, but there's probably some kind of problem in that I've not thought out that would break the game. So,
I think it's one of those that whenever they have the leagues on board in their entirety, that becomes really interesting because then you get league specific players or people who love the leagues or diehards and they can play it almost like FPL where a specialty and they can win cards from that league. Like I get that. I think whenever there's more cards in play over after a few years, whenever there's more managers, more places to compete, like that sort of stuff 100% makes sense. Um At the minute, it's maybe an issue because of like how do you make the rewards work with that? I mean, you're splitting up participants here and there and everywhere. You mightn't have all the players in Serie A. It does have implications. But it's definitely, I think, like maybe where the future lies.
Yeah, for a long time thing. Yeah.
Something I want to see, and just in general, I just want a more immersive experience. It's a very broad statement, but I want an experience, and I think the app will bring it, and maybe some of the announcements this year. At the minute, it's very you buy and sell players, and you enter them in twice a week, and that's kind of it. And there's a lot of trading, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of fun, but even like reward openings could be 10 times more engaging from a content standpoint. I mean, a little animation wouldn't hurt, lads.
Yeah.
In terms of side games, extra modes. Okay, let me go and try and churn out some XP this week and give me another thing. Give me another thing. Give me another thing. So like every week I get to pick a player as well, and I can also enter that one NFT in. And if he scores the perfect 100, I get bonus XP on X amount of cards that I own that are in his team, cards that, weird little side games and things that you can do, more utility, more playing, and not even necessarily stuff that has to give up rewards. Give up XP, give up stuff in the club shop. Let's make the club shop. If you go into my club, I don't even know if you know if this exists because it's shit at the minute. Have you seen it? If you go into my club and go and look at your page, go to achievements. Have you seen this before?
Oh, I have seen this thing, yeah. But it's just like banners, isn't it?
Yeah, banners and shit. But why can't those achievements and those coins, and the reason I'm saving them is because I back this idea. Why can't you go in here and buy, I don't even know, like memorabilia experiences? Okay, let's take it away from that. What if you could buy NFT banners that were actually NFTs?
Yeah.
That you could use as your banner, that you could use as your profile. What if you could go in here and buy XP with these coins for cards? There's so many different things, and that's one little thing. This progress bar where you're churning out, maybe there's streak rewards for signing into the site every day. Maybe there's a million things that can be done, and I just want all of it. I want it to be a really, really engaging game, because at the minute, while I'm really engaged because of I love it, I know there's a lot of people who don't spend as much time or aren't as engaged as they could be, particularly on lower budgets.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've had a few people that have said that, especially the people that are trying to get in now, it's really difficult on a low budget. It really is. I think that goalkeepers are really expensive, and even if you're getting involved in the limited side of things, like I know somebody that someone that DM'd me the other day said he's been playing for a while now in the limited side of things, and he keeps getting things like tier 3 limited rewards, and it's like 40p to £3.60 in his limited rewards, and it's just like you can't. It take years to try and get anywhere with that, because now maybe back a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or whatever, when you guys got involved and a lot of the OGs got involved, getting a tier 3 limited back then, you maybe get a 5 or something you can go and buy. I've seen people that have bought cards a year and a half, 2 years ago for a £5 that are worth £1,000 now. You know what I mean? So, but nowadays, like it's just not enough to compete. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's hard for people coming in the door now. It is 100%. The contrary of that is that those cards that cost £3, I mean, it shows that someone could come in and start trading from a £5 or a £10.
True.
It'd be an absolute graft, but it does show that it's accessible on some level. Paperclip to a house, trading your way up. I mean, it can happen, but I understand it is hard. If I move on to another question, to take us away from SoRare a little bit, but still on SoRare, Mark O'Sullivan, Mark O'Leary wants to know, given that you're a United fan, which United legend would you want the most to add to your collection? Like, who's your guy?
That's on SoRare right now?
Nah, just pick a... If you could add
Eric
one.
Cantona. Eric Cantona.
He's your guy?
Definitely, yeah.
Or you want a color pop?
Yeah, I do. I feel like Eric Cantona, I mean, he's the man. Rooney would be cool. I don't know if Rooney's on there or not yet. Rooney would be cool. No. Van der Sar, he'd be really cool as well. But no, I think Eric Cantona's the guy. He's such
Van
a cool
Nistelrooy
guy. Van Nistelrooy is cool. What a finisher he was. But I mean, it's just like the cool factor of Cantona. He was just ice cold.
Yeah.
He was just.
I actually have a real soft spot for Vidic.
Yeah, Vidic is a legend as well. I do like Vidic a lot. I try and get Vidic on FIFA every year. I'm a big fan of Vidic as well.
I'd probably go Roy Keane though for the Irish connection.
There you go. I mean,
I
to be
think.
fair, my family, my family all come from Ireland, so I do love a bit of Roy Keane as well. But no, nah, for me, collar popped, little, just looking around. I love him.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
legend! What a legend!
Where are your family from in Ireland?
Oh my word, I'm gonna butcher this. Sligo.
Wales. Sligo, yeah. Yeah, Sligo's up the west coast.
Yeah, that's where my
Yeah.
family come from. Got a lot of family still there as well. So
Oh, cool. Well, if you're ever over, let's grab a pint. It's miles away from me, but
really,
yeah, maybe we could grab a pint. The next question is from, let me see, Dazer, who was last week's guest. You can go back and listen to that. It's definitely not out of date yet. What would you prefer, Limited Pro or Pro Limited? And he says, come on, SoRare, more in-game fun. There must be a member of staff in the office available today to sort this ready for Gameweek 256. You don't have any limited cards, I noticed, do you?
no, I don't. I did
For a
at one
reason.
point. Well, I built a really big champion Euro Limited team originally. I had like Vinicius Junior, Lewandowski, and I think Muller and a few other big players. And then I thought, I've got so much in this team, but like realistically, I need to be hitting big rewards to yield return. Whereas I could put that into rare, and I don't necessarily need to hit as big rewards to get a better return. So for me, I just didn't see a point in spending a lot of money in limited for that reason. I do want to go back to limited because I think limited's cool. I do like limited. Obviously, it's cheaper than rare if you want to build like some of the most expensive teams, but I would like to do limited as a way to sort of test a few things out, buy a few different. I like what Nep does. I think he got like a golden oldies team and stuff like that. Like I think that's quite cool, but it's just the return for it. It's just not. It doesn't appeal to me. Like getting a tier 2 limited card and it'd be worth like some of them could be worth like 20 quid or something. It's like, doesn't really bother
And
me.
to get them, you really do need to hit top scores, like
Yeah,
really top scores. And that's where this question comes in. I suppose it is like that increased utility. Whenever we have hopefully a limited pro or more divisions and game modes for these limited cards, maybe it takes out some of the superstars into the higher level of the limited game. And maybe the current iteration of limited becomes more accessible to being a bit of a chancer and shooting 450 and getting a reward. Like a top
Absolutely,
reward.
yeah, for sure. I think I don't know if there is a way to do this or not, but for me, I think it'd be really cool if you just had some kind of card that people don't typically have in their squads or in their teams, and you get a reward out of it. I feel like that would feel really rewarding. Like for me, I like going and looking at players that not a lot of people are using. And trying to find gems that are maybe quite cheap, but definitely have great upside potential. But apart from that, yeah, because like if you look at especially limited, and you just see a lot of them. Oh, there's another Ajax stack. There's another PSG attack, PSV attack. There's a Bayern stack, and it's just like there's no originality there. I kind of like the uniqueness of some of the. I saw a team. Someone won a rare division, I think, a few weeks ago, and he had like PK and Modric and like a lot of old players that not a lot of people are using anymore. And I thought that was really cool. So that for me, that would be an appealing thing. If there's some way to like, and that's why I like the weeklies, the max 50-point weeklies. That's sick. Bit more of that would be really cool.
Yeah. I think it's, I can't wait to see like what comes because I really said it enough. I back the platform. I can't wait to see what sort of changes come soon. They have the bank balance, they have the engaged community, they have the product to make this just insane. So like I can't wait to see what they do because I mean there's only going to become more and more and more limited cards and more players, so it's not going to get easier, so they're going to have to get creative, and I can't wait to see how they do. What I love using limited cards for is that like whenever you do have the luxury of a gallery the size of mine or people who've been on for a while or whatever else, sometimes in rare players get out of hand, out of control quite quickly with their prices, and it's like, oh well, I'm never really gonna buy that, am I? Or like there's guys who you really like, but you're like, oh, I don't need them, or like, oh, I can't justify that. But in limited, it's like, I'll grab one,
Yeah.
Or let me dabble in Asia. I went and bought 10 really top players in Asia, and it's like now I have exposure to Asia, a few more games that I care about, I wake up on a Saturday morning before any games have even kicked off. I've got results from Japan, and it's great. Equally, I've got a load of players from Brazil, so that whenever the summer rolls around, I've got something going on. Something to keep me going. But I didn't quite want to go and spend 5x what I spent and go rare. I was like, no, let's just settle for limited here. This is fun. I'm actually looking there. I need to pick up a limited challenger forward, or even maybe an under 23 for the weekend. Because Nep did a video with him there. Anyone listening, you might want to watch it. I gave him 500 quid to buy players for my limited gallery. So he's bought a few crackers there, but now they're all going to be sitting doing nothing unless I buy one or two more players to kind of complement them. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. Let's see. Another question. Next up, SoRare Assist. Do you think the limited divisions are getting too competitive due to the amount of entrants? We've kind of just talked about this. Have you anything else on that?
I'm gobsmacked when I see people are getting like the podium scores are in the 500s. That is just absolutely crazy in limited. That I'd understand that in the modes where you've got 25%, 50% bonuses on players, but in limited 500 plus, that's crazy. I don't know if it happens every week or not. I don't really keep up to date with it, but I know I've seen a couple of like 500 plus scores, and that's just mental. I don't know how anyone's supposed to compete with that. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it is almost like a lottery ticket.
You literally, yeah.
I think like it's always nice to win like tier ones and star players. That enhances the experience and enhances your chances of yielding throughout the year and whatever else. Tier threes, whatever. Tier twos, you're kind of getting somewhere. But the chances of podiuming are so small and limited. That's why I can't wait and hope that some of the competition is split up a little bit. But it's always going to be the issue. If that's the bottom tier of card and there's always new users coming in, at least for the foreseeable, I mean, that's why I say like side games and other ways to make not necessarily money, make fun, like to win, other ways to compete. Like I think that's really important to stay engaged. Question here from Mark Simons. What have been your best and worst buys while building your gallery? I just thought I'd throw this one at you for a bit of a laugh. You're going to cry.
I don't know if I've got a best buy, to be honest. Trying to think of like players I've got. What was my best buy? Did I make any good money on anyone?
Even if it's not money, even if it's one that's won you something, or you got him at a good time before he hit form, or like
no, I've won 3 rewards in my entire lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not great.
I'm trying to look. You've probably sold them all, have you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I just got rid of them. They were all tier 3s as well. What was my best? I'm trying to think what my best buy was. What was my best buy?
So there's no best. Question. What's the worst?
Worst buy? Oh no. I've had a few stinkers. I for some reason thought I would try and get involved in the super rare category, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I tried to pick up a few super rares, and it just didn't go very well. I tell you what, my best buy was actually super rare Bart Van Hintem. That was my best buy. I picked him up for Bart Van Hintem. Yep.
At Groningen, 35-year-old defender. He's had some nice scores there.
You'll see my my purchase and sell of him. What's weird, actually, if you look at that, is there's some really dodgy trading going on with him in the super rare area.
My goodness,
very weird, isn't it? If you like the same person buys him twice from the same person, then sells him twice to the same person. Very, very strange.
I smell multi-accounting.
I smell a bit of multi-accounting there as well. And you know what? I figured it out. So I should hire me.
You figured it out? What's happened?
I don't know, but something's.
Oh, you figured out that they're multi-accounting.
Yeah,
I thought you just came to some grand conclusion.
No, I think SoRare should hire me as a detective.
These guys are like washing money or something.
Yeah, that's what I said. I showed Nep and I said there's like some kind of money laundering or something going on here. This is very, very weird, very suspicious. But like I picked him up for like £300 and I got like 500 for him. So, you know, that was probably my best buy so far. And that was only in like a 2-day period. My worst buy though, I've had some stinkers. Lewandowski's really down for me. I bought him at a very, very much a high, and then my first
Not
3
quite
game
as high
weeks,
as Nepenthes.
not quite as high as the Panthers, no. But I mean, I bought rare Lewandowski though. He only did limited. It's a bit more painful for me because I bought lower. I think I paid about £7,200, £7,300 or something like that for him
Do
at
you
the
think in
time.
pounds, like the new age of SoRare users?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the ETH conversion is. That's the thing. So
No,
I
fair
just
play to
I
you.
just do it in pounds. Yeah. So I picked him up for about £7,400, I think it was, and then I buy him, and the first 2 game weeks, first game week, he gets his lowest score he's ever had on SoRare in all of his time. It was a 33. Brilliant. That's just great.
Oh,
Thanks.
wow.
Thank you very much, Robert. Then he goes and he does well after that, but it was in a week that it didn't affect me at all because I had 2 players that played really badly. And then he goes and scores 2 40-pointers. Let's go. Great. Thank you very much. And then I don't captain him 1 week and he scores a hat trick in 30 minutes. Get in. So I'm doing well with Lewandowski so far.
He'll come good. He'll come good, and then maybe he'll go off to somewhere and score
Hopefully.
1 million goals for
Fingers
another
crossed.
couple of years.
That's what I'm hoping.
I've seen links of him or talk of his Bayern contract, and he wants to leave this summer if they won't extend it or something. But George wants to know, when will costs go down for European players? Towards the end of the season, right after the season ends, or a month after the season ends? And some people are saying they're already dropping, my friend.
They are already dropping, I think.
They're definitely dropping.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I think it'll drop until a couple of weeks before the end of the season, and then that's like, I think people are expecting a drop at the end of the season, so people are trying to be clever and sell before the drop, thus bringing the drop forward. And I think then people are waiting to the end of the season to buy, but they're very quickly going to realize, oh, this is the dip. And then people will start buying. And actually, I feel like instead of the drop or the dip happening logically at the end of the season for a period of a few weeks, I think it's been brought forward and we're in it, baby. But saying that, maybe, I don't know, I haven't been monitoring the prices around the globe. Unless the Asian prices and American prices and whatever are looking pretty good, maybe there's a general dip in the SoRare market across the board, unrelated to the seasons or form. Maybe it's to do with more NFT sentiment and SoRare sentiment. I don't know.
I thought when I first got in, it looked like the last sort of month and a half. If I was to look at it from a financial point of view I was looking at spreadsheets and stuff. It looks as if we've just kind of been in a boom, and now it's slowly going down a little bit again. Like if we're talking strictly economical, it looks like the market boomed a little bit, and we saw incredibly high prices for a lot of players. And at the moment, it seems like quite a lot of players across the board are dropping a bit. And I don't know, maybe that has something to do with people thinking there's no Premier League rights. I have no idea what people think on SoRare, but to me, yeah, it looks like there was a bit of a boom and it's maybe coming down a little bit now. But if it follows the laws of economics, I guess, we'll probably likely see another boom and another drop and another boom and another drop, and it will continue like that because that's how a lot of markets go. But I would say if you're looking to buy European players, it's probably a good time. It looks like it anyway. I don't want to say buy, but because I don't know. But it looks. I've definitely lost a lot of money if I was to sell everything right now. That's for sure. So
Yeah. Look, it'll be interesting to see how it kind of ages. I don't know, but I'm interested because it's one of those where like we can sit and try and speculate and project and guess, but unfortunately, like there isn't exactly a large sample size. It's not like this platform's been around for 10 years and we look back and go like, oh well, this is the dip that happens every year. And inevitably when dips happen, then people start to try and preempt them and get smarter next year. And then it just kind of drags it forward or adjusts it. It's a weird one. I think it's really hard. And people keep asking me about limited cards and their prices and what they're going to do. And I'm like, that's the first time we've ever seen this with limited cards. They only existed since August. Like they haven't been around a year, so we haven't even seen a cycle. And the platform's boomed and a lot of things have happened. It's like, it's impossible to speculate on this. I think you can come up with rational explanations, but can anyone say with any level of conviction what's going to happen? I don't think so. So yeah, let me see. Any other questions? tips for beginners. Talk to me like I'm 12. Is there? I'll ask you one thing. Is there any tip you would have for a beginner? Just give me one, your biggest one. Is there anything you regret and then you wish you knew?
Buy low, sell high.
Easy beans.
Easy.
And
There
isn't
you
that
go.
just
You're
it?
welcome. And I'll take a cut of
Buy
whatever
low,
millions you make.
sell high,
Yeah.
retire.
Oh no. My biggest problem is that I'm incredibly impulsive as a person, and I'm very impatient. So I will often take a lower price. I won't. Don't fucking lowball me. I have been known to take a lower price for a card because I want to buy another card, right? I just want to get it done without having to put more money on the platform. So that's definitely a mistake that I've made, that I would say try and be as patient as possible. Don't just accept a lower offer because you want to get the money now to go and buy somebody else, because ultimately, like, it's not worth it, in my opinion. That's definitely the one piece of advice I'd give. If you're impulsive like me, stop.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there. Like, I mean, I remember at the start, it is one of those, I think, whenever you're clambering for your first cards and you're all excited, you come in and you try and scattergun and buy, and you want this and you see it and this new shiny thing, and you'll move heaven and earth to get it, and you'll give up way too much to Pavel or whoever else in trade
Yeah.
because you just want your guy.
Yeah.
I think it's a luxury, though, once you're a bit more established in the platform and you don't need to make moves, but you want to make moves. It's kind of, it's different, or maybe you just mellow out. I don't know what it is, but now I'm really really persistent and like patient when it comes to, like, if people send me offers, my cards are in the market. If it's not a fair offer, even if I want to sell the guy, if it's like that's a bullshit offer, even if it's like 2% off, not 2% off what I'm asking. I mean, if it's 2% off what I kind of have as my bottom line, I'm not at the stage now where I'm like, do you know what? I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more like, nah, fuck off. Just get out of here. You
Yeah.
know, and it's more profitable long term. And even when I'm trying to get guys, like there's a couple of guys I've been sending offers for recently, and like people aren't biting. Before I would have sent them way too much to try and get
Yeah.
the offer over the line. Now I'm just like, do you know what it is? Then piss off. You can come back to me. And I don't know if that's just experience or if that is, as I say, a bigger gallery, being around a bit longer, not being in a position where I have to make any major moves.
Yeah. I think that definitely helps having the bigger gallery. I think that's one thing I want to work on over the next year. Is so far I've bought quality. If I can, I'll go for the Lewandowskis, I'll go for the high scorers. But also what I need to probably do is maybe, instead of going and selling a few of my other players, like for example, I'm going to sell the Toko Akambe and whatnot, but maybe it's smarter to actually hold on to him instead, so that I don't have to go and buy somebody in 3 weeks' time. If they've got a Europa League game and I don't have a forward, for example, like I was in now. So that's definitely one thing. Building the galleries is a big thing, I think. And I was going to do it. I was hoping to do it just by building up with rewards and stuff. But yeah, it's proving harder to get rewards than I thought. I came in here, I was like, I'm just going to get a few podiums. 30th for my first week, easy. Get a few podiums and I'm it. Not quite that easy, is it?
This time last year, I had 4 podiums in a month, and then the platform blew up, and I haven't podiumed since. And I've been on the podium twice, competitively on the podium twice in the last week and a half. And both times I came 4th and I came 6th. And it's like, I just want that podium. I want to win. I want to win. I want to win. But in terms of, I think, like, obviously, whenever you do have the bigger gallery, whenever you've been around a bit longer, you have the luxury. Like, when people are first signing up, they don't have the luxury of the expendable money at the minute to be like, oh, do you know what? I'll just buy this guy in case in 2 years he's amazing. But whenever you get the more established gallery and you're there, then you can go like, okay, I'm going to buy this guy and wait 6 months. I'm going to buy this guy and wait 9 months. And once you get to that stage, then you really start to level up. Because I've said it before a few times, the January transfer window this time round was huge for me, like huge for me. From a bunch of DMPs and guys who didn't play, I went from in under 23 struggling to find like a rare pro team, like good super rares for it, to being handed like I got. Let me see here.
Nico Williams was the big one, wasn't it?
Nico Williams,
absolutely banging with him.
Nico Williams was huge, and then Kulusevski's transfer has been amazing. And the last one was Fabian de Kaiser getting the game. And a lot of those other under 23s and all, like, they're doing okay and whatever else. But like, they were plays that I could make based on the position I was in. If I had started out late, there was no way I was buying those guys because like they were risks. And a lot of those risks don't come off, but whenever they do come off, they're amazing. But quick flex, something I don't really do on the podcast. Not even a flex, just like I don't really talk about my own gallery too much here. But I made a few significant purchases over the last week since I last recorded and won a couple of good cards. But I brought in Odegaard. Very happy. I've always liked Odegaard. I really liked him when he was at Sociedad. I really, really, really rated him. And when he came to Arsenal, I was a bit disappointed in his lack of game time and stuff and maybe involvement, but he's really coming into his own now. And I was like, I need to get aboard this train because I love him as a player. I just think he's so classy. I traded a reward I got for a Jeremy Pino at Villarreal. Wee baller. Probably a bad time. His price is a bit inflated because he hit 100 a couple of weeks back. I think he got a hat trick. But
saw that. 4 goals in one game.
Scorer. Yeah, 4 goals. Not a great scorer at the minute, but definitely one for the future. I picked up Pierre Kalulu at Milan. I actually picked him up. I sent the offer before the game with Empoli, and he scored a goal, and I was like, I need to buy him. So I went and snap bought because I was like, his price is just going to go up. And he scored 100, but the reason I buy him is that I know an AC Milan fan. Shout out Martino. He actually edits a lot of this podcast. Shout out Martino. He's been saying to me, get Kalulu, get Kalulu, get Kalulu. And his word wasn't enough. So I had to go, and I was in Manchester meeting some SoRare guys, and a guy was an AC Milan fan, and I said, who's one player you like? And Kalulu came up in conversation again. I said, well, that's good enough for me. 2 Milan fans, both pumping Kalulu to me. I was like, I have to get the kid. And then the last one was I picked up Hakimi. I got Hakimi because I have Nuno Mendes and Donnarumma, and I hope next season that's like the under-23 super stack of the year. Yeah. But they're my moves over the last week. Big moves.
Big money moves. I went and I went and sorted out my under-23s team last week, or in the last week. Yeah. But I've gone with sort of Argentinian league team because I want that sort of summer utility. And they'll also have the utility now because they do it's quite strange how they do it, isn't it? They do a almost knockout thing now, and then the proper league starts in I think early June or something like that. So they have like utility up until May and then stop for a month and then. But yeah, so I picked up pretty much River Plate's entire roster. That's quite young. No, I picked up Barco, Alvarez, and Enzo Fernandez, which were big purchases. So I'm interested with Julian Alvarez. I don't know. I didn't actually check when he actually goes to Man City, but I'm interested to see what
over the summer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be in July or June. That's what I'm intrigued. I don't know if it'll be when the transfer window opens in the Premier League or whether it'll be later on with that. Because I don't know if they agreed. Obviously, River Plate will have to have been thinking their league goes over whilst their transfer window opens. So I don't know how that's going to work. But he's one that I picked up. I don't know if I'm thinking about maybe selling him over the summer anyway. I don't plan on holding him for too long because I don't see him getting loads of minutes for Man City if they've just agreed to sign Erling Haaland. I can't see him really starting much. So,
well, is he an out-and-out striker or is he more of a winger? I thought he was a winger, but I honestly don't know. It was just.
I think he's a number 9. I think he is because United wanted to sign him as well. I think he's a number 9. I might be wrong, but I think he is an out-and-out number 9.
And isn't this the joy of watching football from all over the world that you never would have cared about and trying to speculate on where people might play? It's mad. I'll ask you a question. I'll answer it, and then we'll do the 137 game and wrap up. Something I've started trying to ask people is, did you win any rewards last week or in the last week or two that were notable that you want to talk about?
Nope. No,
you didn't win any.
No, I'm terrible. I'm awful at SoRare. I have so many good players that never win rewards. I've won 3 rewards in 3 months, and they've all been tier 3s, 2 tier 3 limiteds, and a tier 3 rare. And one of those limiteds as well was a cheat. I cheated. I didn't cheat, but basically in Champion Europe, there was only 2 games that week. It was Leicester versus, I think, Burnley, and it was Sociedad versus Mallorca, I think it was. And I went and just bought a Sociedad stack. And I didn't. I still got a tier 3 despite buying literally their best scorers.
And then you probably had to take a loss selling them on.
Yep. I'm just great at this game. I'm so good. Take all my advice.
Take all his advice. I won 2 rewards this week. I've actually had the best couple of weeks ever. Maybe I've had. I think since I last spoke on this podcast, I've won an Ellie's Skahiri over at FC Cologne. I think that's how you say all those things. Garisha Promal, who plays at Union Berlin. I won his super rare. I won Abdul Kahar Kadri. I think he plays for Kortrijk. I won a big one, which was Elte Bayender, the under-23 goalkeeper over at Fenerbahce. And then I won a Carl Toko Akambi, which I sold to you.
Yeah, you did.
So it's been a really productive couple of weeks, like uncharacteristically for me. Sorry to rub it in whenever you said you've won none and I've won all that, but like I'm just hoping I can keep going until the end of the season because like I'm starting to feel a bit of imposter syndrome when I'm actually like winning stuff. I haven't done that in a while. Let's hope there's a tier 0 around the corner. But that's the kind of update in my gallery, a bit about yours. Something I'll throw at you before we go is the 137 game. Every week, I ask the guests at the end of the podcast to try and pick 2 players playing on the upcoming game week to combine for a score of 137, because this podcast is brought to you by 1:37 p.m. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe. If you're listening, you can go over and find us on YouTube if you want to see our pretty faces. Haber, that's actually kind of false advertising. Pretty faces. Not so much.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Yeah, that's a bit hurtful, John. Go on then. Give me 2 players.
Oh, I'm going to say Marco Verratti and Dimitri Payet. 2 midfielders. I think they're both going to get in the 60s. I think that them two. Well, I think one of them will get like in the 70s and one will get in the 60s. But yeah, I think those 2.
If you hit 136.5 to 137.4 points, you will win an Atibo card. You might know the story, but it goes down in SoRare folklore. Collectible, incredibly culturally relevant. I'll tell you the story afterwards, but like this is a card you want. It does bring bad luck to galleries though, so maybe you don't. Last week's guest, Dazer, scored 106 with a 39 and a 67 for the lads he picked. So yeah, not a great effort, but better than some. At least they didn't have a DMP. But Ryan, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million. I really appreciate you having me. I
appreciate it.
It's always nice to hear the perspective of like people relatively new or coming in from other spaces and their what do you think? Is there anything you want to plug or send people to before you leave?
Just my affiliate link. Joking.
Get out of here. You piece of shit. It's funny, like, because I always ask people that, and everyone says, "Oh, you can find me on Twitter and this," and then I get the FIFA YouTubers, and you're all like, "Nah, I don't need to plug anything."
I always feel awkward plugging my own stuff because it's like I don't know. It's I don't think people on SoRare would actually want to watch FIFA. To be honest, it's like. The one thing I do on FIFA, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. We want to go, but I keep opening packs and finding players and be like, I've got him on SoRare. Did it with Andrade, the Seattle Sounders CB. Packed him.
Yeah,
he's a golden non-rare on FIFA. I was like, chat, I've got him on SoRare. This guy scores great. So
yeah, and a lot of them have the same like photos because they get them taken on like photo day. So it's like really like that's my guy. I own that image. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
But look, I suppose people can find you at ItsHaber on Twitter anyway. Twitter's where most of the SoRare community lives. So, and you have a YouTube channel, etc. there in your bio. But look, honestly, Ryan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And look, maybe we'll chat again down the line.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks a million to Ryan for coming on. I really appreciate it. You should check him out on YouTube, on Twitter, all the places I said. Please do subscribe to this YouTube channel to catch this podcast every single week and like the video before you go. It really helps us. See you later.